welcome Angie and Zach to
Thank you.
EMS Sports and the Beyond the Bases podcast. Fun to be able to talk to both of you guys, especially after you just completed your 100 innings game. What, a week and a half ago, almost, or almost 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
I think
something
Um,
like that.
has it
Yeah.
been that long? I'm
Yeah.
hoping it
Feels
hasn't
like
been 2 weeks.
yesterday.
Yeah, maybe a week.
yeah, I
I don't
could be
know.
wrong about
There's
the
a blip.
timeline, but
There's
it's
a
been a
blip.
while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's about a week
Um,
now. Yeah.
so yeah, I just wanted you guys to be able to open up the podcast by talking about what it means for you both to be a part of such an important event that raises money for ALS, and so I'll let you have the floor.
I think, I started playing the game 1 year before Angie, met me and quickly became the darling of that game over me. But I started in 2015. I had signed up for it in 2014. Um, then the weather was terrible. It was like brutally bad that year. And I kind of bailed before I knew the magic of the game, before I like really felt the bug, felt the obligation and the guilt that it takes to keep me coming back every year. I bailed on the game in bad weather, but they kept playing. And I was single. I was following it through the night on Facebook as they kept posting updates. And I just felt this pang of guilt, like I had let people that didn't even know I was signed up for this thing down by not being out there and battling with these people that suddenly looked like heroes to me. Um, and I started to realize more about what the game was for. It's not just to get these extra at bats, it's for ALS. I grew up in New York as just a diehard Yankee fan, fourth generation Yankee fan. Earliest book report I remember was on Lou Gehrig. So, in the back of my head, I had ALS and Lou Gehrig as these causes I cared about. Got to this game in 2015, was only going to play a few innings, a couple hours. Ended up just feeling it, feeling the vibe, and sticking around for way longer than I should have. But I did leave in 2015 and saw the looks on people's eyes, wishing I wasn't leaving, and kind of promised myself I was going to play the whole thing from then on out. Cue a few months, and my life changes as I meet Angie and sort of my match in terms of baseball fanaticism. And we, after a summer-long early dating season at the batting cages, decided we were going to play this thing together. I don't know if Angie knew what she was getting into for that first 100 innings, but
No, I did not.
then I roped you in, and
Hmm.
I don't know, take it from there.
I mean, I think there's a part in the 100 innings documentary that I think, that Walter says the best when he said, like, yeah, people are playing for ALS, but like when else are you going to get a chance to get 30 at bats, right? In like 2 days. And I think that for me, I grew up playing baseball. After college, I played softball in college. I played softball in high school. And then after that, I kind of really like my softball baseball career really kind of stalled out, but I always loved the game, always missed the game. And then out of college, I joined some like co-ed softball leagues, but like it just wasn't the same team experience, and I missed that. So when we, played the 100 innings game, however many years after, like I really thought I was never going to play again, I got to play again. And I think that for me, it was just it's the game I get to play every year. I don't play at all. Sometimes I'll scrimmage with I used to scrimmage with Zach's Dodgers team, and I really haven't done that in a while. So for me it's the game that I get to play, and it's the game that I love, and I get to play it one day a year, and it's maybe a marathon game, but I get to do it. So it's one of my favorite days. Not nights, because as soon as it hits midnight, I hate everyone and I'm swearing at everybody. And if they ask me to read them the lineup one more time, I'm going to shoot somebody. So I think that the love brings me to midnight, and then I start to love it again around sunrise.
I know for me, Whitney, I know you've recently gotten married, as and you two have looked as smitten as any two should look,
Mhm.
when going through these early stages of the marriage,
As it should be.
as it should be. They tell you to try to marry your best friend. It took me two tries to successfully do that, but upon second marriage, I married my best friend. I don't know a lot of other people that get to be teammates with their best friend that they are as attracted to as I am to my wife. It's just this marriage of all of the worlds that I don't
Uh-huh.
know that anybody gets so lucky to kind of to play with. Um, and that first year, 2016, when we did play our first 100 together, um, we had been hitting the cages all year. When
All summer,
training
maybe not
all
all year,
summer,
but definitely all
but
summer.
when training, I've got this little problem where I get a little too intense
Little problem.
in the cages, and I'm not always as nice and as patient and as sweet while training as one should be to their best friend and or girlfriend at the time. But so I there were a lot of times where I was not super sweet and too much of a jerk at the cages. But we get to this game where we're suddenly teammates, and holy cow, like this kind of this calm and this peacefulness came over me as Angie's teammate that lasts me a good few weeks every year until I start becoming a jerk again in the household. So I like it just for that. It grants us another honeymoon period.
Before we get to my second question,
Yeah.
you guys, the team names for the 100 innings, do they change every year, or is it the same, like Team Raz, Team?
This is a hot topic
So
because
yeah, we never really get to name. We find out the names after, like,
Ah,
or sometimes during, but usually it's like after, and then Rat and Walter will like pick names for each side.
yeah,
They're
okay,
generally like monikers after them.
okay. And what was the team name for you guys this year?
we just think of ourselves as first base side and third base side.
Yeah, yeah,
We're very territorial. It's a
yes,
little bit like a friendly gang rival, where
yeah, yeah,
our turf is
yeah,
on third base, theirs is
yeah,
first base.
yeah.
Okay,
We're
so
very much
third
like
base.
the island of misfit toys on our side, and I love that.
100 innings
Okay.
game, after a long career of being a very steady outfielder that nobody thinks can play infield. And upon getting to that field where the grass gets cold and wet, I had to make it a point to convince everybody that I was an amazing shortstop. And by doing so, I got to practice a lot of shortstop
Mhm.
at this 100 innings game and have actually become a pretty damn good shortstop. So I try to play as much infield as I can because that cold, wet grass in the outfield
Mhm.
in the middle of the night is
Yeah,
just makes for a miserable evening for me.
yeah.
So I let the younger guys kind of plow ahead in the outfield, and I am the people's shortstop. I just make amazing plays, not for myself, not for glory, but for the people.
Question.
Okay.
So you guys have obviously played in this game or managed slash played in this game for a long time, since 2016. Do you guys have a favorite memory from any of that time? You kind of spoken on a lot of different experiences that you've had, but do you have a memory that stands out from all the time? Whether it was the midnight with Walter coming out,
Mhm.
and being able to ump for one at bat, which I think is one of my favorite personally. But
Chills
I'm sure
every
you
time.
guys have something, or may have something different. Who knows?
I think ground rules for us answering this question, we should probably rule out the obvious one where I proposed to her in
That was like
2017.
top three, so don't worry about
That
it.
was
That
top
was
three
top
for
three.
you,
That
still
was it.
top
Yeah,
three. All
yeah,
right. But let's just practice so that my feelings don't get hurt and so that I don't say an obvious answer that Angie thinks is third best. Um, I could say that that year, 2017, when I did propose to Angie at home plate, we were still roped in. And even though we wanted to leave, we had champagne at some point there as a
We did.
congratulatory
We
thing.
did.
We were getting like, kind of extra sleepy, extra overwhelmed that year. But we were going to stick it out. Around the 51st inning, sometime after midnight,
Mhm.
Angie got hit by a pitch for maybe the third or fourth time that game.
Yeah,
But this time,
third.
right on the bad spot,
Yeah, right on the
that thing
umbrella.
blew up and she was not going to be able to continue playing. And so I had the perfect excuse to get the hell out of there after midnight,
Mhm.
go home and get a good night rest, and come on back the next morning after brunch, well rested and available to help with the last few
Mhm.
innings. I think the feeling of getting to leave there with my teammate slash now fiance has to be up there number one for me.
Hmm. That's really sweet.
Thanks. What's your
Yeah.
answer?
Okay. So I think every year I have a new favorite memory. So I think it's really hard to kind of say like overall. I mean, getting engaged was great. I think you're more of a romantic than I
Yes.
am. So I think that for me in the baseball purity of it all, um again, like I could there's every year it's like my favorite game. Do you know what I mean? Like we play and I'm like, oh, that was the best game, and then we play again, and then what?
Pick one.
I'm trying to think. But so my favorite memory from this past game was when everybody kind of played in on me and I hit it past the I hit it past I hit it I hit it over into left and I had to and I got a base hit. So that was really nice because it was like they underestimated me and maybe next time they'll just estimate me.
Yeah.
And of course, this year's game only lasted 93 innings. So for those who weren't there or didn't get to watch it in any capacity, can you guys kind of talk about, how that came about? Because obviously the rain had a big part of that, but just kind of what your feelings were through that whole process. And obviously it's bigger than baseball, but for those who missed it, can you give a little recap of what happened this year?
In our time since 2016, we've had a game rained out after 77 innings.
Yeah.
We've had a number of full 100 inning games. The year we got engaged, the game got rained out after 91 innings. So we've kind of seen the gamut, the 77 inning game, like we were playing in the rain for a long time before the field was unplayable. I don't think there is a single person at the end of a rained out early exit that is disappointed that they are leaving and get to go home with no knock on their integrity. It's like an easy out.
I felt differently this year,
Oh,
though.
go ahead.
So from a manager point of view, and I say this to the team every year, the game really the actual game, the competition doesn't really start until about the 80th inning, right? So everything up until the 80th inning, it's a lot of fun. We have a great time. Hits are awesome. That's great. But the 80th inning and on is really when everything counts. So for me this year, I was trying to hold on to my pitchers, right? And I had a couple of pitchers who were staying the whole night. So I was kind of pissed because I had really strategically placed my pitchers and I had a closer coming in for the last game. Stud is like a stud. And so we were only down by like 6 runs. And so I'm like, that's fine. Sean's coming. Sean shows up. He's warming up. And then it starts to like sprinkle a little bit. So in the 91st inning, I give my manager speech because it's our last game, right? Like this is the last full game we're gonna play. So I try to get everybody pumped up. And it tends to be the last game. It's just chaos. So, and I know this from previous years. So Sean warms up, and then somebody else, I forget who it was, wanted to pitch one more inning. So I was like, all right, for the 92nd, I'm like, go. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Sean did go in for the 92nd.
They were set up.
And then it started to rain. And then it started to rain harder. And then they called the game. And I was really mad because because here's the thing, the first base side is full of studs. It's full of very chosen people. They don't, right? The misfits don't get to go over to the first base.
There's a lot of champions on
They're very it's a very cultivated. I feel like it's like one of those like invite only kind of clubs, right? And it really is. And so they don't have anybody but studs. So in order to beat them with our kind of misfit crew, I have to be more strategic like I was last year when we won. So I kind of had to do some of that managerial strategery. And then it fucking rained.
You had them right where we wanted them.
I had them right where we wanted them. I gave this like killer speech.
It was good.
We were like ready to go in, and we got one inning.
Primed for the next pendulum swing, and it was going to be in our favor.
Yeah, because I kind of disagree. I think that whenever we hit like the 70, whenever it's been rained out, I'm like, oh, look, we had like, all we had to do is this was like, I wanted to finish it, and for me, it really was the completion. This year at the 93rd, I was more bummed out because I had this like really awesome strategy that I thought, and then it didn't work. But I always want to play 100. I think getting to say that I'm a woman who plays 100 innings of baseball is really cool. And it's, I think for a guy to say that, and I think especially because men understand baseball much better than women or much better than people in my field. They're like, wow, that's crazy. And I'm like, no, you don't even understand. But whereas like men who play baseball can actually grasp what that means. And it's a lot of like kudos. So I think for me to be like, well, we played 92 innings, we played 93. Now we know what that means. But to say you played 100 innings and to really explain it, it's always such a good feeling. And I like to finish what I start. So for me, it was.
When we're talking about the game afterwards, we never really admit that this year it was rained out after ... We always just kind of say.
Yeah, but I think, but I know.
We big fish it.
I know. I don't. You do.
Angie is right that those last 20 innings is where the game starts. And in part because that's when all of the people that have been there for all 80 innings are digging deep and playing with an internal steam that I think proves who all of us are. And until that real point of exhaustion, I don't think any of us know who we are until we Captain America, our shield back on, wrap it up tight, find a way to stand back up and say, I could do this all day. And we all do this. These are absolute just warriors on this field that battle well beyond their means through the night into delirium when arms are dangling and hamstrings are tight, feet feel heavy. Um, eyes are glassed, and we just dig deep. And those last 20 innings are where it happens. But they also hurt real bad, especially the last few.
And with the fact that it is going all night, and for those who haven't experienced it, is there any kind of food or drink or kind of secret that you guys have that helps you keep going through 100 innings? Especially when it's not something that like you do on a monthly or weekly basis. It's a one-time event, but you have to have some sort of motivation is the wrong word, but you something that helps you keep going, right?
Yeah,
I'm
there
assuming.
there are tricks of the trade.
Drugs.
I'm gonna be honest, caffeine doesn't necessarily suffice after a certain point. You drink enough coffee, you have one thing, and you're like, man, I'm still tired.
A lot of Red Bull. There's like a lot of kind of I think getting everybody amped up. And you some people do take little naps, some people don't. I think
I
if you
can't.
take a nap, you can't get back up. So it really is kind of being strategic about like getting enough kind of hydration, getting enough
The best food I have found, we have
not
found,
no pizza, don't eat the
do
pizza.
not eat the Domino's that shows up at midnight.
Mm-mm.
At least for me, cheese and exertion on no sleep
Yeah.
just equals acid reflux.
Yeah.
Not
And the
touching that pizza
carbs,
ever
you're
again.
just like dead,
Steak
dead.
dips.
Yeah. Oh, the steak tips.
Steak
Yeah.
dips at 1 in the morning when you are
Hmm.
feeling depleted,
Yeah.
like a B12 shot.
Yeah.
There's nothing like hot food in the middle of a cold
Yeah.
night on the baseball field.
And I will say, I think maybe our third year we really kind of got it down where we pack probably I make the night before I make about I think 30 sandwiches for the team too because the kids always show up and I say kids because they're a lot young, some of them are a lot younger than us, but like the kids and they don't have anything or they'll bring like, like candy and chips and I'm like you guys gotta eat, right? You gotta eat. So I'll make like 10 peanut butter and jelly, 10 turkey and cheese, and 10 tuna fish sandwiches and fruit. We've been bringing a lot of bananas, watermelon, just a lot of hydrating fruits, like a lot of vitamins. I think
Yeah, potassium, heavy stuff.
I think we realized that it really helped the recovery more than it helps the game. It helps the recovery because I'm always super sunburned the next day. I'm yelling at everybody to put sunscreen on Sunday morning at like 4 a.m. I'm like, you'll thank me later
Sunscreen's a big
because
one. You don't think of putting on sunscreen
yeah,
in October, but if you're outside for the entirety of
yeah.
daylight,
Yeah, you
you
get
are getting too much
really,
UV.
and you
So
get really dehydrated. So, I think just making sure you're taking care of yourself and honestly thinking like fueling for recovery, not necessarily fueling for the game because you should have done that 3 days ago. Right. It's recovery now because you want to be able to, and as the older you get, the longer the recovery is. So try to shorten that.
Yeah, it makes sense. And like I said, unless you've been through it, you don't know that.
no,
And
yeah.
sometimes it's experience too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of experience, so describe how your approaches at the plate change from inning one to inning 100. When you've been battling for that long, how does that change? And especially, ramping up for that final, what, 20 innings that you said, or final 7 innings. How does
Mm-hmm.
that change throughout the course of the night?
Can I grab this one?
Go
All
ahead.
right. So I think for me, because I think Zach and I have very different approaches at the plate because Zach plays baseball every season and he's kind of
And I've been a leadoff hitter for a
right.
lot of
So
it.
it's
So
not like this is super new to you. So I think that, you get up and you're ready to hit. And although this year was a little bit different, but you can get into that
mm,
and then gets tired throughout the night. For me, I start very excited and like very ready to attack the ball and just kind of having fun with it because for me I just love this game so hard. And I say that, and I don't know that people understand how like obsessed I am with this game and what it means to me. And so for me, I like to attack, I like to play, I like to be playful with who's ever pitching. I have a lot of fun up there. And I think then there are points when probably after like my third or fourth at bat when I'm feeling really comfortable in my swing, and then I'm trying to kind of just smash.
Get it in.
Then I'm just trying, right, because then it's like, oh yeah, right, that's my swing. Oh yeah, that's right. That because I have to relearn it every year, like right before this game, because I honestly don't play. And with the orange dinosaur gone, we don't really hit the cages too much anymore. Because I used to just go and hit those without Zach. Like I would just go.
Yeah.
And so now it's like it has in order to go to the cages, it has to be a night we're both around so we can feed the machine to each other. And we, as Zach said, he's kind of a gym asshole. So every time we go to the cages, we break up as we walk in. We're like, all right, we're done. Like we're breaking up. Like we're good. We like, yeah, we take the rings off. Like we have to not because it would have been a lot of marriage counseling had we have not
Yeah.
figured that out early on.
Just teammates at that point.
And so we really don't get to anywhere. So now these are kind of that's kind of that's been my approach. And then at the end, if at the end I'm just trying to make contact. At the end, I'm just trying.
So I watch Angie's at bats. I've taken a lot of interest in her swing and approach at the plate since we met, and she does something I don't know if she would give herself credit for. She makes those guys who really want to get her out. None of those guys want to let a woman get a hit off of them. They don't. They want to get her out, and they're trying. She makes them throw a lot of pitches. She fouls pitches off. She earns walks.
Like
and then she somehow gets a barrel on it with 2 strikes.
I've done that.
Even if it's an out,
yeah.
She just made that guy throw 9 pitches, and it didn't end in a strikeout. It ended in her getting a barrel on it. Even if it was a tired arm swing, you are not making their life easy.
Well, I think it was Jay Thomas that was like a 15 pitch at
You've done it.
And he was just like, will you hit the
time and time again. So like for me, I love seeing that because that's exactly what Angie's approach and effect should be to really give us the best chance at winning. She's tiring these guys out. My approach in this game, similar to my approach most of the time, but I think I exacerbated a little bit. I'm not there to walk in an exhibition game. I love my on-base percentage career-wise, but that's not what I'm there to do. I'm there to load up and swing at anything close to the strike zone. So I end up just hacking. If I get walked, it's because they just came nowhere close. So like last year, I was just swinging the whole game, and swinging early, and I didn't swing and miss until the 95th inning. Because my mindset is just on whatever they give me, just like the batting cages, just like BP, no matter how fast, I'm going to go for it if I can reach it. And if it's an out, it's an out. We need 600 outs to finish this game. Nobody's going to be mad at me for getting out. I'm just going to go up there swinging and having as much fun with it as possible.
One thing that's obviously different about this game as well is playing through the night and then waking up, or not waking up, but playing as the sun is coming up. What is that experience like for both of you guys? Because that's something I've heard is something that you can't really replicate in any other game, obviously, but like especially with this game. And how does that motivate you to keep going?
I feel that moment in 2 ways. One, I'm with Angie. We take a selfie at that time every game. And there's something really warm and loving and romantic about being with her for that sunrise, knowing everything we've just been through about 75 innings to get there. Because that's roughly when it comes up, around the 75th or so. But then you look up at the scoreboard and you realize you have 4 more full games to play before you get to finish. And that like momentary hopefulness and warmth you feel from hearing the birds chirp and the sun come up immediately returns back to the dread of realizing how slow your pace has kind of crawled to in the wee hours. And that you need to pick it up. And that sense of urgency, I think, comes soon after that.
I mean, I would agree with that. I think whenever I see the sun come up, I always get excited because it's going to get warmer because it's always just freezing cold and I am a wimp in the cold. I can withstand a lot of pain, a lot of things, but cold is just like my kryptonite. So when I start to see that, I start to get excited for that very similarly to Zach, like I'm like, oh, here comes the sun. It's so beautiful. The birds are chirping. Like, here we go. I get this like wave of kind of adrenaline, and I'm like, oh my God, we still have 4 games to play. And then it kind of hits you, but it feels like it does, Whitney, like you said, I mean, it does feel like you're waking up. You're not tired anymore. Like I really like the vitamin D, the light, like your circadian rhythm is just tricked
Yeah,
into
you
believing
skipped
it's
it. You
time.
skipped the cycle,
Yeah,
right? And now you're
it's like your kind of body feels like you're tricked to being awake or like that it's time to wake up. So it does help in that way too. I do think that the
yeah.
mental piece of like we have more games to play is way more mental because it does help you to kind of be more awake. It's beautiful, and I think again, Walter said it in the movie, right? The umps had mentioned that you play a lot of games when the sun is going down, but not a lot when the sun is coming up. And I think for me, when the sun is coming up, it's just so pretty. The sun's coming, and then but I think for me, it's like 9 o'clock where I'm like, okay, let's go, and then I'm like back in. I'm like in it because I'm like, we only have 3 more hours, like because 12 o'clock is usually end.
I'm realizing now how much of even though we do this together and we are absolute partners in this game, we have a couple of very different experiences
Mhm.
while playing.
Yeah.
I play a ton of defense
Yeah.
for this game.
Yeah.
Defense is probably my favorite part of baseball. And this is an opportunity for me to play a position that most of my teams don't let me play that much. So I end up playing around 60 innings at shortstop, like something stupid like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of those innings are in the middle of the night and morning when our numbers get lower. And so during those hours where you're going through these different kind of emotional and psychological wins and victories, I'm trotting back out to the infield with my arm like absolutely dangling. I'm refusing warm-up throws because I think I only have necessary bullets left. And
Yeah.
like I'm out of my mind. Like I'm talking to every umpire, whether they've asked for it or not.
Oh yeah.
Talking
There
to
comes the point where you're talking
every
too
base
much
runner,
and
whether they have acknowledged me or
yeah.
not. I mean,
Yeah. There is a point where yeah.
so yeah, it's a struggle in those wee hours, but the sun helps for sure.
So Zach, obviously, as your sweatshirt shows, you're a member of the Bay State Pirates for the Boston Metro Baseball League, and there are several representatives of the team there. That's one thing that definitely jumped out. So describe how your season went as a team this season, as well as how you guys were able to have that many people at the 100 innings, and kind of just what it's like being with a team that is representing such a big cause like that, and how important that is to all of you.
It's the 100 innings game is actually how I met the guys from the Pirates. In my career in this league, I was on one franchise from 2007 when I got drafted. There was still a big tryout and a draft back then. That's how old I am, that I've been in this league since they still had a draft. But I was on one team, one franchise. We changed our name a couple times just to have fun and get different jerseys, but we were one team. Black Sox to the White Sox to the Dodgers. That was one franchise. Um, and it was that first year playing with Angie in the 100 innings game where all of a sudden, at our most depleted point, we might have been down to
No, I don't think it wasn't until I think 2018 because it was the year before we did the movie. It was the year before we filmed the movie. So I think it was 2018
and they came.
when they came.
That's
We had
actually
already been
correct.
married.
And we were down to like dire numbers.
Yeah,
I
we
remember
were.
it got down to like 10 against 10.
I was in the field every inning.
So
Like we were.
when you are absolutely spent, but everybody has to get
That was
out there on
that was a
defense.
hard year. That was probably the most proud year
Yeah.
because we had, I think it
But
was like
just when it was getting the most dire,
Yeah.
we looked up and like 7
Yellow
Bay State
Angels.
Literally. Yellow Angels
Just
just
came.
kept on
And we were like,
pouring in.
who are you?
And
It
for
was like
whatever
Christmas
reason, they all
morning.
wound up on our side.
hmm
And they all wound up to be just delightful
Amazing
people.
but like and fit right in. Like I said, like we are really the island of the misfit toys. Like everybody on our side
They were
has a
perfect.
very unique personality. And I think they came over and we were just so like very excited to have them. They, excuse me, started playing and we were like, holy shit, these like kids are like well rested and can play. So they just took the field, I think, for like a couple innings by themselves while we rested. They were awesome. And then we got to know them in the next, I think, like 20, 25 innings, and they were awesome.
They're wonderful. I
They
mean,
came back the next year.
yeah.
We did it again. They've come back every year to the third base side. We're all friends on Facebook, so we're all kind of like, and I think this game has a way of making everybody family. So even if it's people who you would not necessarily get along with in quote unquote real life, like every single person on that field, I consider my brother. We've been through hell and back together, and I think that, you trauma bond, right? So, like you trauma bond, and nobody else knows what this is like. I think there's probably, maybe what, 150 people who know what this is like, who've ever done this, really. Like,
Yeah, but
there's
every
not,
year it's the same old
but I'm
guys
saying,
that
like,
show up for
think
all
from
100.
when it was created, that's a number. Brett Rudy's got to have that number. But since it was created until now,
How
there's
many total ball players?
probably only, I would say, my bet would be like 150 people who have done all 100, who actually
Oh,
know what that is like.
yeah.
And I think because it's been the same of us for the past 10 years. So I'm thinking the 10 years before, so I'm just guessing.
Not many of the Pirates have done all 100.
No, they usually come in.
Brian Benulis, our coach, did it this year with us, and that was awesome. But for the most part, they've been the guys that show up in the middle of the night
Yep.
and play through until basically
Yeah.
the end, or as far as they can go.
Yeah.
And that's exactly when we need somebody the most. And so they endeared themselves to us in that way.
Yeah.
And they really did like seem like people I already knew when I got to play with them.
Yeah.
But I was on a team already. They were a team I played against. They had respect for me in how I played against them. They liked me from the 100 innings game, but they were my opponents for a number of years until I finally, because my longtime franchise folded, I became a free agent at age 47, for the first time. And I just, sent them a text. I said, "Hey, how about we finally do this? You guys, any interest in a Louis Soho type utility old guy on your team to help, your clubhouse aura?" And they took me on gladly. And so, I've gotten for the longest time I was, one of the better players on a team that wasn't in the championships. I was one of the better players on a bottom of the pack team for a lot of my career. And this kind of gave me a chance to reinvent myself a little bit about as the veteran, the grizzled veteran that has all the experience, can still hang with young guys, but doesn't have to carry it, doesn't have to win a game by myself, doesn't have to play, the largest part of the outfield, and man all of that territory with my legs that are not as young as they used to be. And I got to just kind of relax and take some pressure off myself and enjoy the company with those guys. And they're all ballers. None of them look like they should be as good at baseball as they are, but that's part of their charm, and they are all ballers. And there's some guys up there that just, it looks like they have a harder time missing the ball than they do barreling up. And they're all academics. And so I get a chance to talk baseball with the next generation, and it's a lot of fun for me.
If you guys had to pick one player to join the 100 innings game, former or current MLB player that could come in and join the game, who would it be and why?
I like this question.
Like you said, living or dead, anybody?
Right.
Carlton Fisk. Hands down, Carlton Fisk.
Yeah,
Why?
living or dead.
So he was my like first love when I wanted to become a catcher. I was just balls to the wall. I studied his mechanics. I would do his mechanics in the mirror. I very much like
Mirror.
modeled.
Yeah.
Well, I very modeled, mirrored my catching like him. Like he was my like idol in that way. And I think too, I mean, his stats alone are, I mean, if he would be my starting catcher, any lineup, any players, his stats alone, his grit, his fortitude, he could read a ball, he could call a game, he had an arm, he had it all. And somewhat, he was on a team that was never gonna win, right? They had some good years, but he wasn't gonna win, but he played hard every game, and I loved that. So yeah. So Fisk, hands down.
I don't think there is any other answer to this question as correct as the one I'm about to give. but it's Lou Gehrig. Lou Gehrig has to be there. And I
That is
no no hold on.
that.
I mean pre-ALS Lou Gehrig.
Mhm.
Okay? Because that man would not even question whether he was going to play every inning with us. And that man in the wee hours. Now there is a time in this game, Whitney, when everybody seems to be going through the same cranky stage all at the same time. We're all underslept. And then all of a sudden, we're just a little less nice to one another, a little sharper with our responses. Um, if you ask Angie how long until you're up in the lineup, can I take a look at the book? Who do I bat after? If you ask her that at
After
1
midnight,
a.m.,
yep.
you're going to get a much different type of response than you get the rest of the night. And there's some people on that field that you don't want to hear start a conversation with you anymore. Like you need some space. Lou Gehrig would be just silent. That man would not want to have long conversations. He was a shy, quiet, humble, wonderful mama's boy. And that man would have been an absolute dream to have on your team, being a reliable 100 inning guy without pissing you off or tapping your cranky nerves.
I think that started to sound really cheesy and really easy.
Yeah.
I think you are, I'm still sticking with Fisk,
Yeah.
but I don't think you're wrong.
I want the GOAT, Lou Gehrig.
I don't think you're wrong.
And I'm curious, because you did mention that you guys also have a family outside of this as well. What do your kids think of all of this, especially being involved with the 100 innings and everything else that you guys are a part of?
They know it, but I don't think
I
they
don't think
understand.
yeah,
They don't get it.
I think this year was the first year where they really looked at us after like, why are you doing this? So we tried as hard as we could. So our boys are 12 and 14. We tried as hard as we could to get them into baseball. They Our oldest did the oldest child thing and was like, okay, I'll do it. And he played for a little while, won a championship with his team, and then was like, can I be done now? Like I won this.
I just want to be a
I just want to be a theater kid.
Yeah.
And then our youngest said he wanted to stab people, so we put him into fencing.
But you have to return from this game and become a parent again.
Oh,
Like
it's
so
very
the kids
hard.
are not with us that weekend, but then they get dropped off
Yeah.
Sunday night. And even though we tell them in advance, listen, we are going to be so tired. We are
Yeah.
not going to be able to help you with anything. Can you guys just be chill and quiet? And they come home and like, what's for dinner? What are
Yeah.
you getting us? Will you get up and help
Yeah.
me with it? They
Yeah.
don't care. They
No,
don't quite
although
understand.
I will say it is the one day we're like, order whatever you want and
Order
just
whatever
like
you want.
pass the credit card.
Just be on your device.
Car.
Be on your
Yeah.
device.
But I think that, my kids really love the fact that I play ball. So even so, not the 100 innings, maybe like we'll go to the cages sometimes in the summer or we'll play or I umpire. And I think my oldest is kind of like, whoa, you do that? And he came to one of my games and I think they're starting to see us as individuals and no longer just parents. And I think that's really awesome. So I think, and they do talk about it and they'll talk about other things with other people. I've heard them say it to their friends, you know what my parents do? And it's like, that's really cool. So I think even though they don't necessarily understand it, they do know that we're doing something different. And I think that's really fun.
Eventually, we'll get them at the field, spending more time with us there. But I think they love not having to be there with us.
Fair enough. It's a long game at that age too, so it makes sense. And
Yeah.
kids have their own interests too, like you said, theater or whatever.
Yeah.
So every kid's different, right?
I think the bug skipped a generation because it is
Definitely.
we've had a hard time selling it in this device
So that
era.
don't mind that it's the night that we get to be with our boys.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a big family reunion every year.
Not our
No,
children.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
Our
sorry. Like our
homeboys.
homeboys, right?
Our
Like
homeboys.
we don't have to, I don't have to worry about being a mom. I can do whatever I want. I can swear. I can do things that I usually don't do at home because they're not good for me. Like I can drink, I can like, take a shot. Like I'm not worried about that. Like I just get to it feels like it did in college when we would in between like having games, like having scheduled games we would literally call each other and be like, you want to hit the field? Like, you want to just like go shag some fly balls or you want to go like whatever. And we would just have fun. And that's what it feels like. It felt like the game that didn't really matter, but mattered almost more because we were having such a good time.
Makes sense. And Angie, you've had a busy year too with doing the Fielder's Choice podcast with Dan. So
Yep.
shout out Dan.
And Gibby.
Umpiring as well as the Savannah Bananas game. So if you had any memory or favorite memories from any of those experiences, If you want to just spend a couple minutes talking about that, this is your chance to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that we did a recent podcast where we had the inaugural female all female umpire crew from the women's pro baseball league, and that was epic for me because my my kind of baseball life really began it began. I was a Dodgers fan in the beginning because I was born in California and I lived in Somerville, and Somerville had like this, we were very territorial, and you kind of like your allegiances to certain things made you, and I was bound to be different, and so everybody was like, there was a big Notre Dame crowd, but then it was, the Celtics and the Red Sox and the Patriots. And I was like, Dodgers, and really kind of started to be adversarial. And then fell in love actually going to Fenway and being at the game. And I would go every chance I get, and then fell in love with A League of Their Own. So, sequentially when I was 11 and it came out, and I snuck in every weekend, and I would just watch it over and over. I mean, I would watch it 5 times in a row because I just wouldn't leave my seat when at Assembly Square when they had the old Lowe's and nobody really checked tickets or whatever. Anyways, so then to kind of fast forward to, I had to play softball, and softball is a game I love. I had a lot of great memories doing that with a lot of great women and girls when I was in high school and college. But I never really got to get back into my game. And so to kind of go back into umpiring and now, but then again, I was the only female again, right? So like when I was a kid and I played, I was the only girl, and I would have to like kind of coerce the guys to let me, guys, boys, 10-year-olds, 8-year-olds to let me play. And then it kind of felt like here I am doing that again. Like, hey guys, I took the class, here's my patch, like you have to let me in. And so now I'm surrounded by all these guys again, and
But seeing this women's league
but so
like start to spring up.
but so seeing this women's league, I mean, this had always been like this has got to happen. I've been following Baseball for All forever. Justine Siegel's organization, which has been just like kind of like really supporting girls playing baseball. But anyways, so then here comes like the rumblings of this league, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And then I am on a Women in Blue Facebook page, which I didn't find until last year when it was kind of my second year umpiring. So to find this niche and then actually like, wait, there is a place for me in baseball again, where I can be competitive. I'm no longer a competitive player, which is fine. Like I'll hit the ball, I'll get a hit, I'll get a ribby, but like I'm not a competitive player like I once was, and that pains me, but whatever, because I'm so competitive. But now I get to be but now I actually have a shot at being really good at something again in baseball and being known for being good at it. And I'm honing my craft. I'm not the best umpire yet, but I'm really working
But you're
hard.
getting better every year.
And
There's something about
yes,
being a ball player where you're like, I just want to
yeah,
get better every year. I want
I
to keep
agree.
improving.
Well, because you have
And if you're
something to
not doing
mirror
that
and
as a
live up
ball
against.
player,
Right,
but you're
correct.
doing that as an umpire.
Right. But so then again, to find, wait a minute, women, there are these 4 women, and if you look at their see like Winnie, like I'm not kidding, like I was like, can you send me your resume so we can write questions? Like, you know how it works. And I'm like, oh my God, like they're the most, they 2 of them had done the baseball World Cup and like internationally. One of them had been
World Baseball
the
Classic.
World Baseball Classic, the Women's Baseball Cup, it was called Cup.
Okay.
But one of them had been the UIC for the Little League World Series. They had all been to Windlestad except for one. Kelly, a woman named Kelly hadn't been to Windlestad, but she was the one who had been the UIC at the World Series. Like, but they'd all been to Windlestad. They all had graduated with honors. Janet Thomas had a job right out of Windlestad to go get like the West Coast League. Like these women were all so experienced and so good, which is awesome. It also infuriates me that a woman has to be 10 times as good to be considered half as good as a man, but that's a story for another time. But we had these women on the podcast, and to talk to them about not just being women, because no woman wants to talk about being a woman doing their thing. We just want to talk about doing our fucking thing. You know what I mean? So to have them on the podcast and just get to talk about umpiring, and we did touch upon the fact that, were there any, was it harder for you to do it or whatever?
Yeah, what challenges?
Which the challenges with being a woman, but really we just talked umpiring. And so I think that for me has been my there was a long story to say because I felt like there was a lot of pieces to it, but having those women on definitely role model material. So that was really great.
And it's coming. One of them's going to be a Boston
Yeah.
team.
Boston, San Francisco, New York.
That's a lot of frequent flyer miles.
I forget the last
Wherever they're
one.
gonna
There was a
Yeah, I
fourth.
forget the last one
What
too.
was the last one? Yeah.
New
I
York,
just
San
saw it.
Fran, LA,
Oh,
Boston.
LA.
Oh,
Yeah,
LA.
yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
makes sense.
I had voted for Boston. I'm pumped.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's it's really important to just take a next step in the development of baseball and reaching out to more communities.
Yeah.
Um, even going to different countries too. I mean, I'm seeing that where baseball is expanding to, uh, I think it was Ireland. I don't know. They were expanding to a different country this year,
We were in
Australia.
Whitney, we were in
Yeah.
Amsterdam for a little vacation, and
Wow.
there is a Scandinavian pro baseball league, and there's an Amsterdam team, I think all
Yeah.
around like Finland, and
Yeah. They all, I mean,
they
people are
all have
playing
pro teams.
baseball.
There are pro team. There's a
Yeah.
pro league in France. There are wooden bat leagues. Ireland has actually been this like they're really proud of their baseball. There was some barnstorming in the
Hmm.
60s. I follow like this Irish American Baseball Association. And there were some American barnstorming tours there in the 60s, and they caught a bug. Those are what's it, hurling,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
is their kind of the Irish stick and ball game.
Hmm.
And so a lot of them took to baseball, and now there are wooden bat leagues in Ireland for
So
sure.
cool. It's so cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't wait to see what happens next with this. It should be fun. So just final question, because I think this is a good way to wrap up. For anyone who might be watching who's never participated or always had an interest in joining this game, why should people come to the 100 Innings game next year and also just continue to donate? So I just want you guys to have the final word on that, and that'll be the final question that we wrap up with.
ALS is it's one of the cruelest diseases out there. It is pressing in the front of my mind that it is a cruel disease. Your mind stays sharp. It stops sending signals to your body parts. So your body deteriorates while your mind stays sharp and while your mind still thinks it can do everything it wants to do. That just feels so cruel to me. And, being somebody who was infatuated and in love with Lou Gehrig from a young age, um, ALS has always felt like baseball's ailment,
Yeah.
baseball's disease, baseball's cause. MLB has taken cancer, stand up to cancer as its bigger cause, but ALS just feels like baseball. Cancer is America's thing to me. ALS is baseball's disease. So we have a chance to really affect
Yeah.
change. This money is making a difference. We have a chance to affect change for baseball's disease, and it's pretty immediate change. In 20 years' time, we've gone from ALS being a death sentence to there being some hope and some treatments
Hmm.
and some, research finds, some genetic code
Hmm.
discoveries and some, mRNA treatments, and gene silencing, some things that are working for at least some people, whereas for the longest times it was nothing worked for any of them. Um, so we're making strides. And to get to do that, to affect change and to help suffering people, maybe suffering people that aren't even alive yet, maybe this won't even help until we're long since gone. But we're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna make a dent in this disease, and it's gonna be from efforts like this. And if you can do so while getting to just, I don't know, make new friends in your adulthood, which is not something that a lot of people do, and play the best game and best pastime out there. It's just a wonderful time, and there's no feeling better than getting to the end, and hearing those thank you stories, the thank you speeches. There's nothing like it.
That was a very sweet, I think.
I'm the romantic here.
You are. And but I also think that, you're talking about it from the charity aspect. And I think that that's great because I think sometimes that gets lost on me because I'm like 100 innings
I get
anxious.
to
Like
play baseball. Yeah.
wait, really? It's like Christmas morning. Like I'm just playing baseball for 30 hours. Like, okay, like tempt me with a good time, right?
Hmm.
But I think it the game itself draws attention to ALS in a way that says, like, we're not just donating money. Like, we're donating our bodies, our time. I mean, as much as we love it, it takes a good week to recover and it hurts. And, it's nothing compared to what people who have ALS go through. So like I'm not, there's no comparison. I know sometimes we joke, like
Well, it's
or,
6, 7 weeks before I can really throw a baseball
oh
again.
my God, please don't do that. The kids are gonna kill you. Anyways, do they pay you to do that?
No,
Do they
that
like
was all
say
me.
like I'll give you $10 if
That was
okay.
all me.
Anyways, but I think, there's a there's a feeling of for I think the player. I feel like there's so many things in the world that everybody wants to like give back to or donate to, or they don't want to see happen, or they don't want to see, and we can try as much as we can to help and to give and to try to make the world a better place. But this feels like it's my one. And I mean, I give to a lot of things, but it's the one thing where I give my mind, my body, and my money. And so I think very selfishly, I always feel very good about the fact that I do this thing and I feel like I've made a difference because my body feels like
Yeah, we're
I've
not
made
just
a
writing a
difference.
check.
Right. Like exactly. Like I have like some donations that come out of my bank account monthly and I'm like, oh, I forgot that I give to that charity until I do my taxes. Right. But this I'm giving and I feel that from a baseball standpoint, I think that everybody who loves baseball has to come and check it out at least once because again, there's nothing there's nothing like it. And and it's so much fun. It's so much fun. There's nothing like it. I think that if it were to get some more publicity in different ways in different areas, I think we would see more people. But like,
We'd like to see more people in the stands. As much as we want people to
yeah,
join us on the field,
yeah, I think that
it's
that's
mind
yeah,
to us sometimes that
yeah,
more people are not coming to watch this craziness.
yeah,
Because the hardest thing to sell to people is, do you realize how crazy this thing is?
yeah,
They're like, yeah,
yeah,
no, it sounds crazy. No, 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 no,
yeah.
no. It's fucking
But
crazy.
we also have
So
so
we
much
need to win.
fun. Like we have so much fun. We have so many inside jokes. We have like the everybody has like the wackiest sense of humor and we have a lot of fun and it's raw and it's real because we literally start the game in like these wonderful moods of like seeing people and then get, competitive and then you hit midnight, everybody's grouchy and I warn people, do not ask me about the lineup. If you ask me about the lineup, I am gonna yell at you and then I yell at them because they ask me because they're boys. And then, 2, 3, and everybody's just trying to like stay warm and we're huddling or we're making jokes. And, I,
There's one guy on that field you never get mad at,
Scott
and that's
Leslie,
Scott
I
Leslie.
never get mad
Okay,
at Scott
that
Leslie.
boy can do.
It's
He will always
true.
be a boy to me. I would
It's
adopt him if
true.
anybody let me.
I told his parents
Um,
that they were very happy
he
about
is probably the best reason for people to come and watch that
that.
game.
He is
That
unstoppable.
boy plays 100 innings of defense. He
Mm.
does not miss a single inning in the field, and he is as elite in the 99th
I
inning
mean, he's made the
as he
final out
is in the third.
in so many,
He is
yeah.
the best fielder on the field in the 99th inning between both teams, same as he was in the third inning.
100%. The kid is just a beast. He's
People should come
unstoppable.
down to that field and watch that
Mhm.
boy humbly be this elite reincarnation of just Lou Gehrig's worth.
They should make a movie about it.
They should
should
put
make
him
a
in a
movie about it.
documentary or something.